Hello and welcome to Crafting with Madam K. Today I'm going to show you the Fiebings edge coat in black. So for a while I wasn't using the edge coat. I would just dye the edge of my leather with whatever color I was using. So for example, today I'm dyeing a blue, or that's not blue, a green project, and I'm going to use the black edge coat. Previously I would have used just the green, but I think that the edge coat is going to give it a sleeker look, and you'll see what I mean because it's a little bit thicker and it almost has a rubberized texture to it, which gives it a nice finish. If I was just dyeing it with the regular green, it looks nice, but it looks just like unfinished leather, really. I did the burnishing technique and everything and smoothed it out so it looks better than finished leather, but it still doesn't look as nice as what the edge coat's going to look like. Also, let's see if you can see it. You see how the edge looks a little blotchy there? That's because I used, oh, where did it go? I used this stuff, which I can't pronounce the name, but I used this to put on the edges and then do my burnishing, and I always do that before I dye because if I do it after I dye it, it sometimes will run and pull the dye off the leather, so it makes even a bigger mess. So I put it on before, but the problem with that is it causes a resist effect. So when I put the dye on, the color doesn't stick as well on the edges. So that's exactly why I'm going to use the edge coat. Another thing is you want to be very careful that when you do use that burnishing agent, that you don't get it on the front of your piece, because then it's not going to dye well. So it's really important to put it just on the edges very carefully and not put too much on, or else it'll start to run. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put this down. Okay, so there's a few different tools to put the edge coat on with, but I'm just going to go ahead and use a regular dauber. The only thing you got to do is just be very careful and put it on very slowly, because you don't want to get it on the front. You really just want to run it just across the edges. Here it is. So I just have a regular wool dauber. This one's been used with black dye before. If you do try to use the same one over and over again with this stuff, you're going to need to wash it really well, or else it's going to harden and your dauber is going to be completely hard. Okay, so I'm just going to very carefully, I'm going to angle my dauber from the back rather than from the front. That way if there's any spillage or overflow, it's going to happen on the back and not the front of the leather piece. I'm just going to carefully drag it across the edge. And I'll do one pass, and if I didn't get close enough to the front, I'll do another one. Just keeping the front of that dauber as close to the edge as possible without going over into the front of the piece. And you can usually do a few sides before you need to get more edge coat on your dauber. Now, because for this one it is in green, I really just want this to be just the edge. I'm going to do just a really thin strip, but for other pieces you could maybe let it roll over the front, so from the front view you see kind of a black edge to it, which would look nice. One of these days, I do have the tool to apply the edge coat, and one of these days I'll figure it out and do that tutorial next. But for now, this works just as fine. So you don't have to buy that tool. It's a good tool to have from what I hear, but a dauber works just as well. So now you can see it has a very smooth black edge. That shiny isn't because it's wet, it's because it really has, again, almost a rubberized type of texture to it. Almost like putting a tar on the edge, actually, is the best way to describe it. So that's it. So this is going to be a cool little dice bowl that I'm creating with the supernatural symbol on it. I'm going to paint it up and everything, and that's going out in the mail on Monday for a happy customer, hopefully. So thanks for tuning in to crafting with Madam K. It may not be the right way, but it's the Madam K way. Be sure to check out our next video and subscribe and like the channel. Thanks.